Nice view out of my tent this morning as I wake up. Get ready to head the rest of my miles into town. Well, last night was a little weird. I slept pretty well, but there are some very tame deer around here. At one point, I looked out, there was a deer right at the end of my tent, and then I heard him all night long. So, whatever. Oh, I hear one right now. There it is. What are you doing? Anyway, I don't seem to be too concerned. Just all over the place. Alright, time to get going. Well, I just crossed paths with a northbound hiker back there that I guess is a through hiker. Her name's Aloha. She said she's started April whatever from the Mexican border, but you know, she's only here kind of in mid-northern California, so I'm not sure what her whole plan is. But anyway, we didn't talk much, but I did just say I'm excited to get into Burney and not excited to go through where the Dixie fire was, which I haven't even told you all about yet. But she was trying to make it out to be not as bad as it is, you know, saying, oh, there's this cool thing and it's cool here and, you know, you'll enjoy it. And I'm like, okay, well, we'll see. So anyway, all right, let's see, I probably got, I don't know, maybe a third of the way through my day. I've been really hauling. I knew this was going to be kind of easy trucking into Burney this last day, so I can do a lot of miles fast today. So yeah, I might be a third of the way done with my day by now, but I still got quite a bit to go. Beautiful view. I was looking at this for a minute before I noticed and remembered, oh yeah, we're back in California here. And there are wind turbines. I think you can probably see them off in the distance there on the top of that ridge. Anyway, yeah, I haven't seen those for quite a long time. That is the Pitt River Dam. Well, that was fun. Right there hiking up from the Pitt River, I met this couple, and they're, you know, my age-ish, and they are southbound PCT through hikers. So the first ones that I've seen and caught up with and And they started, you know, up in Canada, and they're from England, and their intent was to do the whole thing, but you know, they're to the point now, they're getting a little behind, and they're looking at what things are going to be like in the Sierra and thinking it's going to be too cold by the time they get there. So what they're going to do is just skip the Sierra once they get there. That'll be a while, you know, a few weeks. And by then, it'll be nice and cool in the desert. And they'll jump ahead and do the desert all the way down to the border. And then come back next year and finish it up, which a lot of people do. Which, in effect, is really what I'm doing, what I've done, without meaning to, you know, doing the first portion last year and then finishing up all the rest of it this year. Anyway, very friendly people, and, you know, nice sometimes to have a discussion with somebody your own age. I don't even know what I mean by that, except, you know, just relate a little differently about different things. So, nice to talk with them. Well, it's been a pretty uneventful rest of the day. Another few miles and I'll be at the highway to get picked up, going to Burney to take my zero. So if anything else happens before then, I'll video it, but otherwise I'll just maybe video something from town or whatever, if there's anything happening. Well, I've been here in Burney for a day. Not even a day. And I had dinner and breakfast. Well, breakfast, I guess brunch at the bowling alley back there. There are other places in town, but they don't seem to, their hours are really short. And I don't know, anyway, the bowling alley has all sorts of stuff. They serve everything, they serve all day long, breakfast and everything. So, and the food's dang good. So anyway, I'll have to find somewhere to have dinner tonight. It's not the bowling alley because they close at 2 o'clock on Mondays. But anyway, I'm gonna go drop off. I couldn't eat all my breakfast, my brunch, so I'm gonna go drop that off at the hotel and then head down to the grocery store. There's a couple of grocery stores in town. I'm gonna head down to the grocery outlet, which is behind me a couple of blocks, and then get my resupply down there, and then come back to the hotel room and get off my feet for the rest of the day. And by the way, here's the Shasta Pines Hotel that I'm staying at. All right, it's time to leave this morning, get back out on the trail. Got my backpack in the back of Michelle's car. Michelle is the hotel manager here. So she's gonna run me back out to the trail. It's about 7:30, so a little later start than I usually like to get, but it's pretty early for someone to take you out to the trail, so I'm happy with that. And yeah, it's been a good place to stay, so I'm ready to get going. You know, there's only a few days left. I've made the decision I'm not going to stop in Chester. I had spoken about doing that before, but I'm carrying 5 days worth of food. That's going to get me all the way through to Belden. So I'm just going to hike 5 days straight through to Belden. And then it should be about another 4 days to the highway that leads to Sierra City. And once I get there, I will just be hitching directly to the airport, or, you know, to a hotel near the airport. So I think 9 days on the trail, if all's good, could be 10. But yeah, feels weird. This is, you know, still a lot of days left. I don't want to get too far ahead of myself, but it certainly feels like it's coming to an end. All right, well, there's no good drop-off place near the trail like there was for the pickup, or, you know, right by the trail. So Michelle dropped me off this little parking area back here, but you can probably see the trail symbol up there, the Pacific Crest Trail symbol. So the trail's just right in there. So it won't be long walking. I'll be trucking. Woohoo! Oh, always exciting to be back on trail. All right, back on trail. these first few miles are going to be real flat. So I'm going to try to make as good a time as I can. And then, of course, like usual, I'll hit the mountains. And, you know, I'll slow down. It'll be a lot tougher, but I'll try to make up for it right now on this flat terrain. Well, my last few miles as I was hiking into Burney a couple days ago, I started to head more southeast, and as I was passing up Shasta, and so now I'll be heading southeast for half of this day or more, walking kind of directly away from Mount Shasta, and then I'll turn more directly south for my next several days, heading down to the finality of this hike. This is Hat Creek I've been walking beside for a little while here, and it's gonna widen out even more up here and become Baum Lake, B-A-U-M, Baum Lake. Nice pretty little area. So it's a little chillier this morning than I expected, which is really nice, but it's warming up fast. It is now October. So you would expect it to be a little chilly. Everybody around here is, you know, that lives around here is saying they can't believe it's still, you know, still as hot as it is, and it's going to be hot. It's probably going to be in the 90s, maybe as low as, you know, high being 85 or so the next few days, but yeah, gonna have to deal with the heat a little bit for a while still. Well, there's poison oak all over here. I know I read some comments about this section saying wear long pants if you have them, because poison oak is unavoidable. There's so much of it, but it looks to me, unless I come up on it later, looks to me like they've cleared out some, or something's anyway happened, because even though I have to be really careful, weave around, I haven't come across anything I couldn't avoid yet, so that's good. Alright, I'm coming up on a creek shortly here, and that will be my first water source for the day, and it'll also be the only water for the next 13 miles, 13.4 or something like that, until I get to a water cache. So there's a big water tank that a guy keeps up, which is amazing that people do that stuff, you know, but keeps it up through the season. And that's almost 13 and a half miles ahead. So even though I've got 2 liters of water, I don't really need any water. I'm gonna guzzle a bunch here and fill back up and stuff just to make sure I can make it those 13 miles. So here we are. I think I will go across and then come down and grab my water from this other side. Boy, they make it nice and easy to get across there, don't they? All right. All right, so of course Balm Lake we saw back there. Burney Falls, that was way back before I got off the trail the other day. And Old Station is where I'm headed next. 24.4 miles, so I guess now's as good a time as any to talk about that. So kind of excited to get there. I'll get there tomorrow. And actually you don't go into, the trail doesn't go right into Old Station, but it goes right beside it. And kind of right behind it. You just hike a couple of tenths of a mile off the road, I think, to get to it. And the cool thing is, last year after we hiked and we got off the trail and we were driving up north, just kind of exploring what we hadn't hiked on the PCT, one of the places that we ended up was Old Station. We're just driving right through, and I don't remember if we stopped and got gas or not, but there was a little cafe there called JJ's, and we stopped there and ate. There were a bunch of hikers in there, and we're like, oh, this is cool. And so we, went and explored to find where the trail was, and the trail came out pretty close to that area. And then we went kind of up a hill, and there was a parking area where you could, an overlook sort of, and we hung out and looked at that, and the trail went right through there as well. And then we drove down and actually tented kind of back on these back roads. And anyway, all that was where the PCT goes through. And so it's cool because I'll be coming at it from the other direction. And tonight I'll be tenting right about kind of where we tented last year, back off those roads and stuff. And then most likely I won't make it to the overlook today. That'll be like tomorrow morning. I'll get up early and head out, and I'll go see that overlook and walk right through that parking lot, and then a couple more miles to the road where the cafe is. So assuming everything works out right, I'll probably stop at that cafe tomorrow. I'll probably get off the trail and just walk a couple of tenths of a mile in and have breakfast or something there, and jump back on and head out. So it'll be neat to see those things again and come at them from, hiking on the PCT instead of driving up to them and, and saying, oh, if we'd only been able to continue on, So anyway, I'm excited to get there tonight and then see the rest of it tomorrow. This is the weirdest landscape. I didn't really know there'd be any volcanic stuff out here. But of course I've been hiking through it all morning. And then I climbed all the way up the mountain. And here it is, flat and volcanic rock around. Looks just like down the bottom of the mountain. But I don't know. Odd. I guess this is going to be the norm for the next few days. I made good time this morning, but now it's like 95 and well, it's cooking. So I'm gonna almost to the water. I just have to drink up a bunch and then just move slow the rest of the day and maybe take some time off and cool down periodically. Hike into the evening a little bit further or something, but it's hot. I hope it cools down. interesting out here. Let's see if you can see a little bit of this view. The trail's about 200 feet up that way. And I just walked 200 feet down this road. And behind this fence, marked with this little white blaze for PCT, is a tank of untreated water that I can filter out. So that's awesome. And this guy, Jim Beatty, he just brings this all here himself and hauls it here every so often and fills everything up. So it's pretty amazing. So yeah, I'm gonna see what's in there, and then I'll Venmo this guy some money. And if anybody else wants to Venmo him, do it. All right, recognize this contraption from a few months ago. I asked my sister to ship this out to Burney, along with my new shoes. Woo. So she's awesome. She sent everything out and a few extra things even. But I had this umbrella sent out because of the Dixie Fire area coming up that I keep mentioning. And I suspected it might be, hot and exposed through there. I just guzzled down like a liter of water, so I sort of have the hiccups. Anyway, but it's so dang hot today and no wind at all that I thought I'm gonna throw this thing up right now and see how it is. And I tell you what, it sure feels a lot better not having that hat on my head and it's keeping the heat off my whole body, not just my head and face. So hopefully this will get me through the rest of today. So right out there is a road. Just runs a long ways across here. Keeps going down past these little promontory hills that are sticking out here, you know. I'm on one right now, and then here's one right there, and then behind it there's another one and another one, and eventually down there just a couple more is where that lookout is I was talking about, that I'll come to tomorrow morning. And then right beyond that, I'll just work my way down the other side out to that road I was just showing you. And then that road is where the restaurant is on, I believe, that I was talking about, that cafe that we saw last year. So we'll see if that's how it works out tomorrow. Well, I'm walking along the trail and I just came right across this water cache, and which is awesome. And I just stopped and got about a liter. The reason it's so awesome is because I'm about 3 miles from stopping and setting up a tent and calling it a night. And right before my 3 miles come up here that I'm going to stop at, there's some water, and there hasn't been any water for like 8 miles, and there's not any for another 8 miles. So 16 miles is a long way to carry between. Anyway, but I was carrying enough that it's like, well, I could probably get through the night and do 8 miles tomorrow morning and, you know, not have to get this other water. And the reason I don't want to get this water up here in a couple miles is because it's a source called Lost Creek, and it's about a 30 to 35 minute round trip to hike down to it from the trail. Like, oh my gosh, I don't want to waste 30 minutes, you know, and waste my energy and whatever. I'm ready to be done. But anyway, now I don't have to worry about it. I was sitting here thinking, you know what, I'm just not going to do it. I'll just be a little bit thirsty. I'll be okay. But now I don't have to worry about it because Jay saved the day. Thank you, Jay.